Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 26 series Rescue the Rockies. And the 2040 season is finally about to get underway. Despite an off season where it didn't feel like we did all that much, it's actually going to be a somewhat different team than we've become used to over the past several years. Longtime number three hitter and first baseman Ryan Stone, a guy who was a first round draft pick of ours over a decade ago at this point, you can see is out for the season, likely ending his career with us. We exercised an option to bring him back for, I think, either $8 or $9 million for this year, so that's clearly money that we're just flushing down the toilet, unfortunately. But with the lefty hitting Stone out for the year, and the lefty hitting center fielder Anthony Pack Jr. Being out for the foreseeable future, as well as the switch hitter Jarrett Woods out for the year. Lineup is definitely a little light on left-handed hitters. Just left fielder Eric Mokeen, who's taken over as our number three hitter with the loss of Stone, and catcher J.D. Lee are going to be the only two lefties in our lineup, even against right-handed pitching. Clearly, we hope we'll have Pack Jr. back in the not-too-distant future. And one positive thing is that we do have money available to perhaps make some trades closer to the deadline to help balance out our roster if we need that. Other significant changes, former ace and number two starter Noah Schultz, who had been a key member of our pitching staff for years, is gone. Premier stopper / late inning reliever Justin Gibson, let him leave as a free agent as well. Our longtime future catcher of the future, Mike Girard, finally gone. He signed a big free agent contract away from us, another former first-round pick who has gone on to greener pastures, literally and figuratively. And then we're hoping that we'll end the revolving door of veteran shortstops who have largely manned that position for us the last couple of years. Carlos Davila, one of the top prospects in baseball, who missed all of last season with an injury, unfortunately, is going to get the opportunity at age 23 to finally make his major league debut and hopefully be our everyday shortstop. So a different looking lineup for our Rockies, but we've got high expectations to hopefully once again make it to the playoffs here in 2040. And taking a look at our schedule for this month of April, only 3 divisional games right at the end of the month against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Arizona Diamondbacks no longer part of the National League Western Division in our new 8x4 setup. The Dodgers, Padres, and Giants, the 3 longtime National League California teams, along with our Rockies, are going to be the National League West for at least this season and likely the foreseeable future. And our Rockies off to a very good start in the early going of this 2040 season. Won our first 5 games before we finally lost today against Milwaukee. Some good news and some bad news. Good news is Anthony Pack Jr. is now healthy, although he does still have 3 days left on the IL before we'll be able to get him on board. Bad news, the guy who likely ended up making the roster when we decided to put Anthony Pack Jr. on the IL, the youngster John Jefferson, going to be out the next 2 to 3 weeks with patellar tendonitis. The former 8th round draft pick has developed to be the number 100 prospect in baseball, and although he played just a handful of games in AAA last year and a couple this year before we made final 26-man roster decisions, got off to an outstanding start for us. 6 for his first 11 major league at-bats, 4 runs scored with a double and a home run, hitting over 500, certainly not expecting that will continue. Obviously, we'll be putting him on the IL for the next 2 to 3 weeks, but he has got his major league career off to a start where we may need to find a spot for him in the lineup when he is healthy again. And the early stages of the season are still going well. We've got a 13-4 record, as you can see if you look closely at your screen. We are going to make what's rare for us a relatively early season trade. Mentioned earlier that John Jefferson had gotten off to a good start, although he's still injured for another 5 days. Jason House, the veteran infielder slash pitcher. He is a two-way player, although he's not particularly effective as a pitcher, but certainly someone who we could throw in as a long reliever or a guy to serve a mop-up role for us and get a little value out of that, is also ready to return from the IL. We had signed Travis Ramstad to a $12 million deal last year. He was respectable for us his first year. He hasn't gotten off to a good start this year. He is a fan favorite and a reasonably accomplished player over the course of his career. But given his age, I think he's kind of the guy that we want to move on from. You can see we can get a lot of veterans with bad contracts in return, or we can just trade him to the Houston Astros for the minor leaguer Jacob Doverspike, who's in AAA for them, which I'm sure is where he'd end up with us. Houston has the fifth highest budget in baseball, the fourth highest payroll in baseball, and they've still got tons of financial flexibility. So the rest of this season for Ramstad for them likely helps them. And then next year he's also got a $12 million bill before the option kicks in. So it seems like something Houston can afford. Certainly gives us a little more financial flexibility going forward. But more importantly, it just kind of starts opening up the infield for us for the likes of both John Jefferson as well as Carlos Davila. If you're wondering how Davila is doing in the early stages of his major league career, certainly holding his own. 270 average with 3 homers and 9 ribbies and 63 at-bats. He has also walked 10 times, so he's put up a 119 WRC plus, 0.7 WAR. Fielding-wise, pretty solid job at shortstop with a 1.7 zone rating, defensive efficiency of almost 1100, zone rating, or his range factor 5.43. I would have to think that will probably come down maybe a little bit over the course of the year, but certainly more than holding his own, and we want to ensure that we can get the young guys some playing time. So even though we're not really getting anything in return in terms of getting the third baseman, Jacob Doverspike, who certainly looks like a 4A kind of profile to me, 26 years old and hasn't made it to the majors yet. Does still have 3 option years, though. Clears a spot on the 40-man, clears a little bit of money for us going forward, and helps ensure that hopefully we can give some of the young guys a little more playing time in the infield going forward. And near term, the trade of Ramstad definitely opens up a bit of a hole in our lineup against right-handed pitching. But he was our third baseman against righties. But with House now up and Mahez on the team, we certainly have options. And as I said, the main reason we dealt him is that John Jefferson only 5 days away from coming back, and he's certainly capable of playing more than first base for us. So we'll suck it up over the next week or so with a slightly weaker lineup than we would have had otherwise. But ultimately, hopefully, if Jefferson can stay healthy and be productive, it will be a short-term pain for long-term gain for our roster. And John Jefferson is back and healthy now, so we're going to let the rookie go back into our lineup as our starting first baseman against right-handed pitching. We did send House down to AAA. You may remember from when we picked him up that he had a couple of option years left, which we thought was interesting. he's not as well developed defensively as many positions as we'd like him to be. So would certainly think he's going to be the next call for us when we need an infielder. But for the time being, since he's got options to go to AAA, and we also think we can make him a bit better and a bit more versatile in terms of what he can do defensively, he's going to be the one who gets bumped down to the minors. And we've made it through the first month of the season. Our Rockies tied with the Padres at 17-7, not just for the best record in the National League West, but for the best record in all of baseball in the still early going of the season. The veteran Kevin Roberts Jr. having an outstanding start to his year for us, leading the league in steals, second in the league in ribbies, leading the league in OPS, and second in the league in batter WAR. Leo Martinez, our ace, tied for the team league lead with 4 wins, obviously also leading the team with those 4 wins. 2.25 earned run average. Quick look at the statistics for the first 24 games of the season. Rank first in the National League in runs scored, the offense generally in the top half of the league, and third in the National League in runs allowed, and the pitching generally in the top half of the league. The exception to the rule there, home runs allowed, where we rank 10th. Some individual awards as well. Carlos Bear Barrel de Villa, 293 average with 5 homers and 13 ribbies, is your National League Rookie of the Month. And the aforementioned Leo Martinez, 4-1 with a 2.25 ERA, was named the NL Pitcher of the Month for April 2040. And we've won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies since the last time we checked in. Unfortunately, John Jefferson's fragility is manifesting itself. This one not as serious and one of those more coincidental things, but a broken nose that's going to keep him out for 3 days. He continues to impress, 13 for 27 at the major league level. He's added the second round tripper of his career since he returned from the IL. So remains extremely productive when he's on the field, but looks like that may be a struggle for him. And we won a game against Atlanta, but our left fielder Mike Castro going to be suspended for 4 games, unfortunately. He has gotten off to a very strong start over the first 3 years of his career, but definitely struggling this year, hitting just .213 with no home runs and 94 at-bats, 82 WRC plus, just slightly above replacement level. Hopefully after he sits out those 4 games, he'll start producing better in the month of May than he did in the month of April for us. And our play on the field has generally been pretty solid throughout the month of May, other than losing 4 out of 5 games to the Padres and the Salt Lake Trappers about a week ago. Did get some bad injury news, unfortunately. Number 2 starter Bob Russell has a forearm strain, only involved in 2 decisions thus far this year, despite making 9 starts, 1-1 record with a 2.83 ERA for the good lefty. Hopefully it won't turn into anything more significant, but obviously we're going to be without his services for the next month. Pitching depth, in part due to the departures of Noah Schultz and Justin Gibson that we talked about earlier, as well as a few other departures, and then some pretty significant injuries during spring training to Matt Stream and Jason Axelson, means that we don't necessarily have the depth of pitching in AAA than we typically have, but hopefully we'll be able to shuffle things around at the major league level and still find a pitcher who's interesting to us to bring up. And we've made our decisions as far as our pitching staff. Bernie Barrera, Jesse Hoffmeister, and Mike Witherspoon are going to be bumped up in the rotation to the 2, 3, and 4 slots respectively. Jeff Colson's going to get a chance to start. Former first round pick almost 8 years ago, way back in 2032. Finally, after a injury plagued trip through his development, got the opportunity to start pitching in the majors this year. Put up a sub 3 ERA for us over 18 and a third innings pitched, although he has allowed a couple of home runs and walked 10 batters. But ultimately, in Colson, as you can probably see, with only 30 stamina, that has kind of definitely regressed through his injuries. We're going to give him an opportunity, though, to see if he can be a 4, maybe if we get lucky, 5-inning guy for us, although with that stamina, really don't think he's going to. But this is just a near-term decision. The reason we're going to give him a few starts is that David Guadron has been bad this year. 7.65 ERA for the former first-round pick. He started 31 games for us a year ago, but had an ERA of 5, and as you can see, has basically only been league average this year. We've got a good bullpen with a lot of depth. We brought up Salvatore Alvarez, a guy who we picked up in a trade a couple years ago, almost 25 years old. This is going to be his opportunity to make his major league debut. He's had a 6+ ERA in AAA Albuquerque over the last couple of years, so definitely not expecting that he's a huge part of our future. But looks like a guy who could potentially eat some innings at a somewhat respectable level in the majors. And we'll see what Colson can do in a couple of opportunities. My hunch is we're going to struggle to get 4 innings a start out of him, and maybe we will pivot to Guadron. But as I noted, Guadron just been so unimpressive thus far this year that we'll at least give the former first-round pick Colson an opportunity to start a couple of games for us before maybe we revisit things at the beginning of June. And we've now made it to the start of June. Our Rockies have now opened up a 4-game lead on the San Diego Padres for both the best record in the National League West as well as the best record in the National League. The Kansas City Royals at 35-18, 3 games behind us in the battle for the best record in baseball. Kevin Roberts Jr. continues to have found a bit of the fountain of youth at the age of 31, leading the league with 20 stolen bases, third now in the National League in batter WAR. Jesse Hoffmeister, third in the league in strikeouts now, and Adonis Valer tied for second in the league with 15 saves. Taking a look at the awards, we've got a National League Pitcher of the Month for the second straight month this season. Jesse Hoffmeister, who's been striking out batters at a high rate, is your top NL starter and pitcher for the month of May. 4-0 record with a microscopic 1.26 ERA and 48 Ks in 35 2/3 innings. 6-1 on the year with a 2.82 ERA. So Hoffmeister, the former second-round draft pick, I have to be pretty pleased with the way that he has developed for us thus far. A couple other things before we finish up the episode. Taking a look at the team statistics now, 2 months into the season. Our 38-15 record is a bit lucky, 3 games ahead of Pythagorean expectations. 4-0 in extra inning games and 10-2 in one-run games. Probably won't continue to play at that kind of pace. The offense has slipped back a little bit, ranks 4th in the National League in runs scored, but you can see here we're still the top half of the league in every category except for hits, where we still are a generally middle of the pack 9th, but technically on the lower end of the spectrum. First in the league in steals, 6th in base running, 2nd in defensive efficiency, and 1st in zone rating, so remain a pretty good base running and defensive team. And the pitching, perhaps not surprisingly, given what we've seen from the likes of Martinez and Hoffmeister so far, is clearly the best in the National League. 1st in the league in runs allowed, and you can see we are now 1st or 2nd in all of the primary pitching categories. Check in quickly on what Jeff Colson's been able to do in his 2 starts with us. You can see he only went 55 pitches a day ago. Taking a look at his game logs, he's gone 4 innings in each of his 2 starts for us, 56 and 55 pitches. Has allowed 3 runs, all earned over the 8 innings that he's pitched for us. 9 hits, no walks, no home runs allowed, and he struck out 4. So he's been a more than fine pitcher for us. The issue is we're only getting 4 innings a start out of him. Kind of what we anticipated given his stamina. Given that the 4 innings he's been giving us have been fine, I think we'll continue to run him out there for the time being. Guadrone has lowered his ERA to 5.22, so he has been pitching better, at least in terms of allowing earned runs, since he was passed over for a return to the rotation. Looks like with him going 55 pitches 2 days ago, which is the same day that Colson gave us 55 pitches. Presumably that means that Guadrone came in and gave us the long relief in support of Colson. So seems to be working okay so far. Still got to find out how long it's going to be until Russell gets back. Looking like 2 weeks away at this point. So I think it's reasonable to keep doing what we're doing, see what we've got with Colson, although I think with his lack of stamina, definitely seems like his future in the majors is more of a long or middle reliever for us. Not surprising news that Derby Mahez day-to-day with a sprained knee. He's had injury issues over the course of his career, hitting just 200 this season, but he does have 5 home runs and 115 at-bats, so definitely hitting the long ball a bit more than he did last season when he just did not do much of anything for us offensively with a 56 WRC plus. Check in on a couple of the youngsters before we finish things off. John Jefferson still hitting over 300 for us, 312 average in his first 96 major league at-bats. WAR of 0.7, the WRC plus down to 138, but think that he's still certainly more than holding his own at the major league level, playing primarily first base for us right now, and you can see he's kind of trying to pick up that position at the major league level, but a guy who's capable of playing other positions in the infield, although he's not particularly impressive defensively. Carlos Barrel de Villa, the number 5 prospect in baseball, IAFA signing from 6.5 years ago, hitting only .218 now in 193 at-bats. Does have 9 doubles and 7 home runs. He's stolen 5 bases. So he's doing some things. Isn't walking as much as he was in the early stages of the season with just 16 on the year, but with 33 strikeouts and 193 at-bats, that hasn't been a problem for him. Only a 71 WRC plus. The WAR is close to 1. Taking a look at his fielding statistics, zone rating and defensive efficiency is still above average at shortstop. He's certainly got the range to be a shortstop and a pretty effective one. So given that he's struggling a little bit with the bat, would hope that that gets better going forward. But he's young. He's got a good glove. And looking at his ratings, my hope is that although I don't think he's ever going to be a silver slugger type hitter, with that glove and that speed and hopefully a bat that's going to be better than what we've seen from him in the majors so far. Certainly going to continue to roll Bear Barrel out there every day. Last thing we'll check in on is the catching platoon. You may remember we decided to bring J.D. Lee back on a contract that was not particularly popular with some members of the worldwide scouting department, hitting .262 in 126 at-bats, playing primarily against right-handed pitching. His 111 WRC plus is actually the best that we've seen from him over the past few seasons, but still a long way to go this year. Doug Hall, a guy who we traded for, a switch hitter who, on paper at least, is much better against left-handed pitchers than right-handed pitching, so we intended to use him in the platoon, playing primarily against lefties. Unfortunately, he hasn't been great for us, hitting 214 and 56 at-bats. Does have 3 home runs and 10 ribbies, but overall an 89 WRC plus, just slightly above replacement level. Digging in a little deeper, has been closer to average with a 276 average and a 96 WRC plus against left-handed pitching, struggling much more, hitting just a buck 48 against righties. Still don't hate the platoon at this point, but it's something we'll keep an eye on going forward. As we have talked about in the past, we do still have Elliot Bedford waiting in AAA if we need additional help at catcher this season or into the future. He's in the second to last option year this year, so he's still got an option year for next year. So still have opportunities to mix and match behind the plate. But it's a strong start to the season for our Rockies. Pleased that we've kind of juggled some injuries reasonably well, and we're finally in a position where we're able to play some of the youngsters like John Jefferson and Carlos Davila on a regular basis as we start trying to remain very competitive while also hopefully getting this roster a little bit younger. Next time around, we will sim up through the middle of the season and do our mid-season roster review, start thinking a bit more seriously and in-depth about what we might want to try to do as we get closer to the trade deadlines, hopefully guide our Rockies back into the playoffs. Until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.